Your body has this incredible hidden communication grid. And no, I'm not talking about nerves and electricity. This is more like a sophisticated wireless network that runs on tiny chemical messages. It's responsible for regulating just about everything, from your growth and metabolism all the way to your mood. Today, we're going to tune into this amazing system.
So you might be wondering, why do we even need a second system? I mean, we already have this super speedy neural system, right? It's like a hardwired telephone line, point-to-point, instant commands. But the effect is really short. That's where the endocrine system comes in. Think of it like a powerful Wi-Fi signal. It broadcasts messages that travel everywhere, and while it's a bit slower, it provides this widespread, long-lasting regulation for all the cells that aren't plugged directly into that neural network.
So what are the actual messages in this wireless system? Well, they're called hormones, and their definition really gives away their power. They are non-nutrient chemicals. Now, what that means is they're not food. They're not fuel. They are pure information, powerful messengers that travel between cells. And get this, they're produced in ridiculously tiny amounts, but they can still orchestrate these massive changes all across the body. Okay, so if this is a whole system, where do the orders even come from? Well, we've got to start right at the top, in the command center. And here we meet the hypothalamus. Honestly, the best way to think of it is as the CEO of the entire endocrine system. It's that crucial link between our thinking brain and this vast chemical network. And just look at where it's located. Talk about a strategic position. It's tucked away right at the base of the forebrain, and it has this direct physical connection to its second in command, the pituitary gland. That physical link is absolutely critical for keeping control over the whole system. So how does our CEO actually give out its orders? It's pretty clever, really. It uses two main tools: releasing hormones, which are basically the green light. They tell the pituitary, okay, go, get to work. And then it has inhibiting hormones, which are the red light, telling it to stop or slow down. It's in constant communication, telling its general manager exactly what to do and when to do it. All right, so if the hypothalamus is our big picture CEO, then the pituitary gland is the general manager. You'll often hear it called the master gland, and for good reason. It takes those high-level commands from the boss and translates them into specific, actionable orders for all the other glands down the line. And this is where the design gets really, really smart. The hypothalamus doesn't just shout its orders into the main bloodstream for everyone to hear. No way. It uses a private circulatory system, like a dedicated VIP highway that goes straight to the pituitary. This makes sure the message is delivered fast, at full strength, without getting diluted. It's a secure line from CEO to GM. And once the GM gets those orders, man, it unleashes its own army of hormones. And look at this list. It's controlling everything from our growth and milk production to thyroid functions, stress responses, even our reproductive cycles. It's amazing that this one little gland has such a huge range of influence, all directed from the top. But what happens when the communication breaks down? When the signals get all mixed up? Well, with hormones, balance is everything. Take growth hormone, for example. Too much of it when you're a kid can lead to gigantism. Too little, pituitary dwarfism. And even as an adult, if you get too much, it can cause a condition called acromegaly. It's a stark reminder of just how precise this chemical communication really has to be. All right, let's go on a little tour, shall we? Let's check out the field offices. These are the specialized glands that get their marching orders from the pituitary and actually do the day-to-day work. First stop on our tour, the thyroid gland. You can think of this as the body's department of energy and metabolism. It basically sets the pace for how fast your cells burn fuel, and that affects everything from your body temperature to your heart rate. It's the thermostat and the gas pedal, all rolled into one. Now, what's fascinating is that the thyroid is totally dependent on one simple element: iodine. Without enough iodine, the thyroid just can't make its hormones properly, so it tries to compensate by getting bigger and bigger and bigger, which results in this visible swelling in the neck called a goiter. It's a really powerful example of how a very small deficiency can have a huge, visible impact. Next up on our tour, let's look at these glands that sit like little hats right on top of the kidneys. These are the adrenal glands. This is the body's emergency response and stress management department. When things get intense, this is the office that gets the emergency call. And this department is famous for producing what are known as the hormones of fight or flight. When your brain perceives a threat, real or imagined, the inner part of the adrenal gland, the medulla, floods your system with adrenaline and noradrenaline. It's preparing you for immediate, intense action. And you know the result, right?
It's that incredible primal feeling. Your heart starts pounding, you're breathing faster, your pupils get wide to let in more light, and your body starts dumping sugar into your blood for a massive burst of energy. That's the endocrine system, getting your body ready to survive, literally at a moment's notice.
Our next stop is the pancreas. And here's a stat that's going to blow your mind. The pancreas is a pretty big organ, but its endocrine job, the part that actually makes the hormones, is handled by just 1 to 2 million tiny little clusters of cells. They're called the islets of Langerhans, and they only make up about 1 to 2% of the whole organ, but their job is absolutely positively vital. So what is their supercritical job? Well, it's this amazing balancing act with our blood sugar. On one side, you have beta cells pumping out insulin. Insulin tells your body's cells, hey, open up, absorb some sugar from the blood. That lowers your blood sugar. On the other side, you have alpha cells releasing glucagon, which does the exact opposite. It tells your liver, release that sugar you've been storing, and that raises blood sugar. It's this perfect push and pull system happening all the time. And of course, when this whole balancing act goes wrong and blood sugar stays way too high for too long, it leads to a disorder that I'm sure we've all heard of, diabetes mellitus. This just hammers home how essential that constant moment-to-moment regulation by these pancreatic hormones really is for our health. All right, so we've seen the bosses, the managers, and the field offices. But for our final section, let's zoom in on the message itself. How in the world does a hormone, which is basically a message in a bottle floating in the vast ocean of our bloodstream, find its exact intended address? Yeah, this is the really big question, isn't it? If these chemical signals are broadcast everywhere, through your entire body, why doesn't every single cell react to, say, thyroid hormone? How does that message find only its proper recipient and not get lost in the mail? The answer is just, it's a beautiful and super simple idea, the lock and key mechanism. Every hormone is like a uniquely shaped key, and it floats around the body, bumping into all kinds of cells. But it can only do its job when it finds the specific lock that it fits into. That lock is a special protein called a hormone receptor, and only the target cells have the right locks. So when the key finds its lock, they bind together, and only then is the message delivered and the action triggered inside the cell. It is specificity at its absolute finest. So just think about it. Right now, this very second, this incredibly complex chemical symphony is playing inside of you, coordinating thousands of different processes, keeping your entire body perfectly in tune. It's a silent, constant, and absolutely vital performance happening within us all. Thanks for tuning into this explainer.